President Trump held another meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky in the White House yesterday, and this time the Ukrainian leader actually decided to wear a suit. But before we get to that, my name is Blake Cresses, and this is Trending Politics. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay up to date with all political news. So as we all know, President Trump has been eagerly pursuing peace between Russia and Ukraine and an end to their war that's been raging on since 2022. He actually met with Russian President Vladimir Putin last week in Alaska, and unfortunately no peace deal was arranged. But Putin did admit that had President Trump been in office in 2022, this war likely would have never happened. Now, we can speculate on why, but I would say that it's because Vladimir Putin actually respects President Trump, the world actually respects President Trump, and they do not respect former President Joe Biden, who turned America into a laughingstock under his quote-unquote leadership. But anyways, he's held this new meeting with Zelensky, and it went far differently from the meeting that occurred towards the beginning of his term. If you remember, there was quite a media storm brewed around it. It became something of a scandal because there was a lot of aggression between Trump, Vance, Rubio, and Zelensky. J.D. Vance actually asked Zelensky at one point if he had ever said thank you for the billions and billions and billions of dollars that the American taxpayer has fronted to support them in this war. Because he was asking for even more money at the time. It was insane. But hopefully, President Trump can fulfill his big campaign promise of ending this war, because it's a senseless war, and we all just want to see, we just want people to stop dying. That's it. But this war, there's no sense in this violence. And it's not going anywhere. It doesn't seem to be ending anytime soon. So hopefully President Trump can pull through with this peace arrangement, like he's done with so many other wars that get far less media attention, of course, but wars that have been raging on for decades. He's had peace deals signed, ending these wars. He's done a great job, but we want to see him pull through with Ukraine and Russia. So anyways, after this meeting, they took some questions from reporters. So we're going to go ahead and watch some of those right now.
I got a question for you. This sounds insane for me even to ask this, but do you think the American media really doesn't even want a peace deal, because they've seen they've been so critical of you every step of the way as you lead the charge for peace?
It's an amazing phenomenon. I said that if in the settlement you got Moscow, St. Petersburg, and thousands of miles around them, they would say I made a bad deal. The level of hatred and animosity is incredible. Not with all. I mean, we have great people up here. We also have terrible people up there that I think are told what to say. But, you know, in solving all of these wars, they don't even write about it. You know, I saw major wars. I saw wars that have been going on for 31, 35, and 37, and a couple of quicker ones. One that was going to go into a full-blown deal very quickly. You know what the one I'm talking about. It was a big one. But they don't even write about that. No matter what I do, no matter what, and you know, this is not anything to do with you. It's probably to your advantage in a certain way. But no matter what I do, no matter what deal I make, from my standpoint, you'll come out good. Maybe President Putin will come out good. But they'll say, Trump was absolutely horrible. It's just that, and I've lived with that for a long time. I've lived with it since just before the first election. I used to get great publicity. Now I get the worst publicity anyone's ever gotten in office, but I won in a landslide, so that people understand. They're the only ones that count, ultimately. But I've also had great reporters. I've had journalists that are very good. But it's very sad when you do the right thing. As an example, they said, because of the fact that Vladimir Putin came to American soil, this was a tremendous defeat for Donald Trump. No, it was really wonderful that he did it. It was a hard thing for him to do, to be honest with you. It was the opposite of what they said, but they said it. Now, if he didn't come, they'd say that was also bad for Trump. You know, there's no way. And there's just a great dishonesty of the press, and I think that's why it's lost its credibility. You know, its credibility is at an all-time low. We have a thing going on right now in D.C. We went from the most unsafe place anywhere to a place that now people, friends are calling me up, Democrats are calling me up, and they're saying, sir, I want to thank you. My wife and I went out to dinner last night for the first time in 4 years, and Washington, D.C. is safe, and you did that in 4 days. I'll tell you, it's safe. I had another friend of mine, he has a son who's a great golfer, he's on tour, And he came in fourth yesterday in the big tournament where Scotty Scheffler made the great shot. And he said his son is going to dinner in Washington, D.C. tonight. I said, would you have allowed that to happen a year ago? He said, no way, no way. He said, what you've done is incredible. And I think the people realize it. But the press says, he's a dictator, he's trying to take over. No, all I want is security for our people. But people that haven't gone out to dinner in Washington, D.C. in 2 years are going out to dinner. And the restaurants the last 2 days were busier than they've been in a long time. Thank you.
Lots to unpack there, lots of great points, and a great question, too. Does the media actually even want this war to come to an end? We all know that media companies make a lot of money whenever there's a war going on because it gets a lot of clicks. So, you know, from a purely fiscal perspective, we could definitely say that they don't want the war to come to an end. But he raises other good points, too. And I'll pose this question to you, the audience, and you can answer in the comment section down below. Say the war ended tomorrow. Trump brokered a peace deal. Ukraine and Russia stopped fighting. Do you think leftists will praise Trump? Do you think the mainstream media, the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party, would actually, you know, bend the knee and praise Trump and say, hey, he actually did a good job here? I would venture to say no. Would any of your left-wing family members or friends ever praise Donald Trump? I would venture to say no. They simply can't. There's too much hatred in their hearts, Trump derangement syndrome, this cult-like opposition, whatever you want to call it. No matter what President Trump does, no matter the accomplishments, the data that proves, you know, however the economy is doing, whatever it is, if it's good, they'll say it's bad. They'll spin it. They have to. Trump needs to be the person that the American people hate. Orange man bad. We've all been through this for over a decade now. But anyways, after that, he goes on to talk about the progress he's been making in D.C., essentially taking over the police department. Pam Bondi's in control now. Democrat leadership is out the door. Leadership that has turned D.C. into something of a hellhole because they continue to let repeat offenders, violent criminals back on the streets. The Democratic Party truly is the party of criminals and illegal aliens. That seems to be the only people they actually defend and stand up for, and whose policies the Democratic Party actually benefits, is criminals and illegal aliens. And they're calling him a fascist and a dictator for keeping the streets safe. Meanwhile, the American people see, hey, we don't want to live with criminals running around. We want to feel safe in our communities. We want to be able to walk around outside at night without fear of getting stabbed or robbed or anything like that. But Democrats simply can't have that for whatever reason. I guess that's their primary demographic, primary voting bloc, just criminals. But anyways, we'll move on here to this other question from a reporter. Let's take a look.
Thank you, President. Thank you, President Trump.
Are you disappointed there's no ceasefire, President?
The United States has already given hundreds of billions of dollars to this war effort in Ukraine.
Biden.
At best, it is a stalemate, and the killing continues. So, President Trump, how much more is the United States willing to give Ukraine? And President Zelensky, how much more do you want?
Well, I'll start off just by saying we're not giving anything now. We're selling weapons. This is something before, I guess the number is well over $300 billion. That was under Joe Biden, a corrupt politician, not a smart man, never was. By the way, go back 40 years, he was not a smart man 40 years ago either, but now he's in particular bad. This was done by a corrupt administration that shouldn't have been in, and frankly, if the right results of the election were given, if I were president, this war would have never taken place, and he would have been very happy because he would have liked to have seen. I mean, they went through hell. He went through hell. This war would have never happened, and the people that were killed, a couple of million people, a lot of people with soldiers and everything else, and the people that have been displaced and forced into other areas and other countries because of what's happened, none of that would have happened. And I'm just saying that he was a horrible president, whether it was the borders or this, he was just a horrible, corrupt president.
Mr. President,
You want to
I can. Thank you so much. So first of all, we have possibility now to buy weapons from the United States. We are thankful for this program and this opportunity. We are thankful for Europe. They pay for this. And through NATO program, for example, Pearl and etc., we have some programs where we can have some money to finance this. And this is a part, I think, it's not a part for the war and to defend us. It also will be a part for security guarantees, to strengthen our army, to rearm Ukrainian army. This is very, very important. And it depends how much money we need to rearm. For example, the question of air defense, we spoke about it with President Trump, and I'm happy that we have now bilateral decisions and we work on it with production, American production. Nobody in Europe has so many air defense like Patriots, for example. We need it very much, and this is also about defending.
President Zelensky, can I ask President Zelensky a
I
question?
think the good news, we make the best military equipment in the world by far. You mentioned the Patriots. How good are they?
Systems, air
We have
defense.
systems, they're literally 100% foolproof. And it's really like shooting two bullets, two bullets hitting each other in the air in a space like this. The chance is 100%. It's 99 to 100%. So we sell the equipment to NATO. And NATO does what, I don't know what the arrangement is that you have with, but I know that they want you to have the equipment. And we're getting the best equipment in the world, but they pay us for the equipment. Under Biden, it was just crazy what was going on. I believe.
So true, President Trump. So this is one of the greatest things that he's done is, whereas before under Joe Biden, we were essentially writing blank checks to Ukraine, billions of dollars of taxpayer-funded money going to this country, a very corrupt country, by the way, and we all know about this. Many would say that it was a money laundering operation. I'm not going to get too conspiratorial here. But now we've transitioned to this thing where Trump has gotten Europe to really put their foot forward and actually defend Ukraine and not rely so much on us. Hey, this is in your backyard. Why are we having to deal? We've got a whole ocean that separates us. Europe, why are you guys not... you care so much about Ukraine. You guys need to be taking care of this country. And that's what's going on. They're paying Ukraine, and then Ukraine is actually paying us for weapons now. So we're essentially profiting from this. But anyways, President Trump has been doing a great job. This was a fantastic meeting. And ideally, we'll just get to see this war come to an end. But with that, I'm Blake Cresses, and this is Trending Politics. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell to stay up to date with all political news. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Blake Cresses. My name is right there at the bottom left of your screen if you need help with spelling. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.